I've forged relationships here that they're going to last me the rest of my life, and I know they are. I have no doubt about that. And that happened here. That happened here for me, and it can continue to happen here. It can continue to happen. It can be a special place. So I'm happy to present Body of Heaven, Body of Darkness. Chapter 1. The toe was an ungodly mountain of flesh, as massive as it was inexplicable. It clung to the earth like a bulbous pink tumor, enormous, all-encompassing, the height of a skyscraper, the breadth of Niagara Falls. Rainwater washed through its thick patchwork of crevices and cracks. Long vertical rivers lapped its skin cell canyon walls. There were flash creeks, there were tidal waves. The tonal itself was the hanging shelf of the world. Then Harold looked higher and got to see the rest. Lord God Almighty. Harold trembled at the sight. He had visions of floods and brimstone and the abandoning of lesser gods. The universal spark that begat Abraham and Jesus passed through him and connected people everywhere and made existence a single unified creation. No separations, no barriers to the knowledge of fruit and good and evil. It was now, it was time. The world would never be the same. Upon achieving this epiphany, Harold screamed like a little girl. Sweet mother reality. Like a little girl with a little girl purse. He couldn't help it. He opened his mouth and out it came. And when he ran out of air, he sucked in hard and screamed even louder. The creature knelt in the downpour. Nevada had never seen a storm like this. In the murky green haze of the afternoon squall, Harold took it all in. A giant, a titan, a monster. The creature looked like God, with the classic God robe and the classic God beard and the stern, fatherly expression one would expect God to wear. This was God. It was. Harold knew it was, even if reason and relative plausibility eluded him. If God was 10 miles tall, he would not have been surprised. Harold backed into the wide-open door of a still-running 4x4 truck. He'd hopped out the moment he saw the toe. Rain pelted him. Hailstones dropped on him hard enough to bruise. He didn't care. He couldn't care. He stood there and watched. God rose, slow, rumbling, shifting and displacing atmosphere. He took a pause, a moment of monolithic stillness. Then his colossal foot lifted from the earth. The step was like a phase of the moon. It passed high over Harold, blotted the sky. Nevada mud showered Route 160 and fell in clumps and condo-sized splatters. The foot thundered, traversed, traveled. It landed again with a deep, resounding quake. Harold dropped to his knees. Not since the age of 6, when his Sunday school teacher explained to him the rapture, had he felt such sheer religious terror. The virtues of Sunday school had been lost on him. He never listened and broke all the rules and made out in the clergy office, and now, all these years later, he'd gone the extra mile and had gotten the girl pregnant. And here was God. There was God's foot. Seeing him was like watching the planets align, like the sinuous, deliberate progression of the stars through the sky. Muscles shifted, the enormous robe swayed, skin and tendons and veins, will, movement, spirit. The Lord is a warrior, Jehovah is his name. That's when the second monster socked God in the gut. Boom, damn. 2 of them, there were 2. Not 1. 10 miles, 40, 100 miles tall. What difference did it make? What possible difference were a few dozen miles? Harold saw fleeting colors, fleeting shapes, an elusive detail here and there. The second monster had red skin and fur like a goat and cloven hooves for feet. It can't be, said Harold. It just can't be. God's hands disappeared into the haze. Lightning flashed. The storm swirled and churned. An enormous chin emerged. Blood red. It hovered there, lorded over the world. Lips came with it, sneering, cracked, diseased black lips. A forked tongue slithered between them. God's knee connected with the chin. The red monster, Satan. The monster was Satan. Satan's head rocked backward up into the storm, up, and away. Harold couldn't see him after that. He felt the terrible impact, and then, grrr, a deep rumbling growl that shook his truck and rattled his brain. He saw shapes in the downpour. One shape rushed the other. They were airborne a terrifying few moments, then they crashed into Charleston Peak. The earth shook. Ejected loads of mountain shrapnel careened through the sky. One climbed atop the other. It brought down million-ton fists like wrecking balls. Down, down, again and again and again. A hand scooped up a mile-wide patch of earth. It flung a nebula of dust at its foe. Swirling, eddying, the nebula expanded, and the lightning flashed, and the rain made it a swarming, stinging barrage of rocks and mud. Harold jumped into the truck and slammed the door. The deluge spattered Route 160 and smashed against the 4x4. The passenger door dented, the window shattered. Harold held his breath. He reached into his pocket for his phone and called Patty. She picked up after one ring. "Oh my God, Harry, what is happening?" she said. "Are you all right? Where are you?" "I think I want to break up," said Harold. "What?" "I'm pretty sure I'm going to die and I think I'd rather be single. Is that all right with you?" "Oh my God," she said, "are you seeing this? I just stepped outside and oh my God, are you seeing this?" A spiraling mud missile ripped through Harold's hood and cratered his engine block. The back tires lifted 4 feet in the air. "Jesus," Harold said. "Jesus, Patty. Did you just say you'd rather be single?" "Yes, I did," Harold said. "You asshole. Holy cow, they're bigger than Mount Everest." "I know, way bigger," said Harold. "You're such an asshole." "I'm not ready to be a father. Plus, we aren't any good together." "Are you serious? Are you serious right now?" "You fucking suck," Harold math. "Oh shit, look at the blood. Damn, he's about to snap the devil's crack." "Good Lord," said Patty. "Good Lord, the world is ending. This is the apocalypse. It's all over. We're through." She paused. "How big do you think they're—" "Shh!" Patty's voice cut out. A massive explosion erupted off in the west. Patty cut back in. "Harold? Harold, are you—" She cut out. "Patty," said Harold. "Patty?" A towering landmass of flesh landed on the road. It kicked up a giant tidal wave of earth and mud. The truck lifted. It mounted and rode the wave, slid over it, down it, 30 yards, 60, and then it toppled and crashed onto its side. Harold's head slammed into the window. He landed on his shoulder. It seemed to him the deluge would never end. The rain would never cease. The mud would never stop falling. Worse yet, there would be fire, cleansing fire that would rain 1,000,000 years. Forever, forever, until there was nothing left at all. And the heavens would cry judgment, and the earth would be a scorched, shapeless void spinning, and the storm ended. The mud stopped falling, the rain became a drizzle, and the thunder died on the wind. Harold had shut his eyes. He hadn't realized. He balled his hands into trembling fists. His knuckles had gone white, and his fingers ached to spread. He touched his head, bleeding. His shoulder felt like someone had pummeled it with a tire iron. Harold hauled himself out of his seat and began to crawl for the door. Scraping and clawing and shrieking from the pain. He threw his weight against it. Mud flowed over him, over his face, washed into his mouth. When he was finally out, he lay in the muck a few minutes longer. Harold felt like puking. He fought unconsciousness and the throbbing, aching, drumming in his skull. Finally, he found the physical fortitude to look around and see what there was to see. This was not the Nevada he knew. Nevada was desert and hills. This was mud, more mud, footprints like rock quarries, thick, roomy air like swampland, eerie silence, uncanny calm. The clouds broke, and the last sliver of sun shed piercing orange light over everything. The landmass of flesh stretched east and west and filled his sight and all his senses. He stumbled to his feet, began the climb, the ascent up the mountain of mud. Harold's legs sunk in, but he kept moving. And soon he stood before the great wall, the landmass of flesh. Skin cell ridge patterns spun circuitously all along its face. Spinning, diverging, joining. It was a fingerprint. Harold understood this. He stood at the tip of a finger. The blueprint and signature of individuality. It was pink, not red. God had fallen and he did not move. Satan, the monster, the nightmare, was nowhere to be seen. Harold stooped, exhausted, sick to his stomach. He put out his hand to touch, to make contact, to feel. He touched God. He expected him to feel rough. He expected him to feel like nothing on earth. He felt like saran wrap in concrete. Also, God gave him a static shock. A little electric current leapt to Harold's fingers and zipped through his hand and up his arm. Thanksgiving, he mumbled. It's only a fucking week till Thanksgiving. Which was, he supposed, the entire reason being with Patty had him so freaked out. Family, togetherness, a nice meal served with heaping piles of low blows and shouting. Harold swayed. The world got darker, deeper. He said, "November rain tastes like mud turkey football." And then he dropped to the ground and passed out cold. Chapter 2, comic books. Comic books were the single most awesome thing in the universe. Without exception, without fail, Dylan knew it for a fact. He'd heard all the arguments before. Comics were too childish, they were too nerdy. He kept a numbered list taped to the lamp on his bedroom desk. It contained, in no specific order, all the reasons comic haters were full up to their eyeballs with horse crap. 1, comics told stories, amazing stories. They told the kinds of stories anyone could enjoy. 2, comics had art. Cool art that was colorful and dynamic. Just these mind-blowing people and the ultra-heroic things they did, unreal. 3, stuff like this. Flight and laser vision and super strength and Arctic breath and X-ray vision. One guy had all that. Man, stupid cool. 4, Batmobiles. 5, super soldier serums. 6, radioactive spiders, anyone? 7, they also brought tons of joy to tons of people, his favorite thing about them. 8, his dad really liked them. Dylan didn't live with him in Los Angeles anymore, and comics were just about the only thing they agreed on. Dylan was a straight-A student, bright for his age, and everyone seemed to know it. Too bad the entire 7th grade class at Longstreet Middle School despised him. That's how it felt anyway. You know when you're not wanted. It's hard to miss it when they say it to your face. Orphan, drug baby, eggplant parmesan. The last one Dylan had to Google for an hour. Eggplant parmesan, epithet, noun, a person or persons of mixed race, specifically African American and Italian. Dylan was the new kid in school. He'd only lived with Grandma 7 months. Alabama meant nothing to him before that time. And these kids, these nasty kids, they formed cliques early and despised new people. Dylan was an artist. That's what he considered himself. He drew comic art. He designed his own team of heroes and he put them through their paces every afternoon. The muscular, towering U.S. patriot, his super uniform adorned in spangled red, white, and blue. Lazarus Lad, his sidekick, skinny and nerdy, just like Dylan, only he was a frickin' powerhouse too. Dylan's bedroom was like a fortress, a cave, a secret, impenetrable lair only he knew the secrets of. In the soft evening light, it had a gloomy, creepy Legion of Doom vibe. He sharpened his pencil, narrowed his eyes, and stuck out his tongue in deepest concentration. He set the pencil tip to Lazarus Lad's still unshaded mask. There was nothing better in the entire world than life amongst his heroes. A car horn honked out on the street. Dylan ignored it. His pencil wrote over the paper. Another horn honked, then a door slammed and someone screamed. This broke Dylan's concentration. He heard the words, "Oh, Jesus, oh, help us, Jesus!" He recognized the voice. Marcia from across the street, nice old lady. She sounded freaked out and upset. More doors slammed, more car horns. What the frick? Dylan got up from his desk and went to the window. Someone knocked on his bedroom door. "Dylan, baby, come out here." "In a second, Grandma," said Dylan. "No, Dylan, now." Grandma's voice sounded serious, not joking edge. Dylan's stomach dropped. Classic kid reflexes. She caught me doing something wrong. Only Dylan hadn't done anything wrong, not in a while. His hands trembled. He felt anxiety, dread, but what for? Why? He went to the door and followed Grandma to Angelo out to the living room. The TV flickered on its stand. The newscaster cried her eyes out. Wow, that was mind-blowing. Dylan had never seen a news lady cry like that before. Sit down, Dylan, said Grandma. "I need to call your father." "Dad," said Dylan, "why?" "Just watch. I'm sorry, baby. I need to call your father." Grandma went into the kitchen to use the phone. The warm smell of freshly baked bread filled the house. It was nearly Thanksgiving, just a week away. Plenty of bread to come. That smell somehow seemed to make all the honking and shouting going on outside even louder. "Yes, Jan," said the lady on CNN. She kept crying, her makeup running down her face. "Yes, we're hearing that also. On the phone? Yes, okay, all right. We've got on the phone with us Matt Willis from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta." Matt, are you with us? The picture on the screen didn't make sense to Dylan. If there were riots. Dylan couldn't tell where. People were beating each other, looting grocery stores and running wild. Cops lined up in riot gear. They had guns and tear gas and more guns and big hulking cars that might have well been tanks. The tear gas canisters flew and bounded off the concrete. People didn't care. They threw them back and acted like lunatics. The picture changed. An angry Asian guy shouted and pounded a big black podium on foreign TV. And in Russia, people chanted for their president to do something. Do something about what? In the kitchen, Grandma slammed the phone down and swore. She huffed, picked the phone back up, started dialing again. The CNN lady kept talking and crying. Matt, is the CDC adequately prepared to quarantine God should he prove a biological threat? God? God, said the guy on TV. Nobody said anything about God, Michelle. Why would they need to? CNN lady despaired. It's all over. Why won't the planner administration admit it? Over? God? Shit, said Grandma. Shit, shit, shit. All the lines are dead. I can't get through. She jabbed at the buttons with her finger. What's going on, Grandma? Said Dylan. What's happening? The picture changed. Weird picture. Hard to understand. A shaky helicopter shot. Whatever it was pink and splotchy. Grandma, what is that? Said Dylan. The cameraman zoomed out. Everything got blurry a few seconds, and then it became clear. Dylan saw a face, a man's face. No, wait, not just a man. God? God's face? Grandma, is that? It is, said Grandma. Yes, it is. Why is he bleeding? There was a fight. He got into a fight. How big is he? Grandma blanched and stared at the TV from across the room. Pretty fucking big, she said. Sorry, Dylan, sorry. Over the next few minutes, Dylan got a sense of scale. Within the hour, he began to think about existence like he never had before. What was happening? What was this? What did it mean? He felt like a deer in the headlights, a worm mashed to the flat side of a churning cartwheel. What did it mean? Really, seriously, what the heck did it mean? It definitely meant humans weren't alone in the universe. Did it mean God was human? Was it even God? Was it? And the red one? Holy cow, it looked like the devil. Were these things, these monstrous things, were they maybe aliens? Is that what they were? Did it mean God and Satan were really aliens and they were dead now and had beaten each other to death in a Godzilla, Mecha-Godzilla fight? It meant they were dead? Dead. Dead. They had beaten each other to death? That's why everyone was screaming? That's why the news lady couldn't stop sobbing? Someone pounded on the front door. Dylan jumped. Grandma rushed to look through the people. Marcia, she said. Marcia, what's wrong? A muffled voice on the other side. No, I'm sorry, we can't talk right now, said Grandma. The muffled voice again. Dylan heard muffin tin and butter knife, and existence is a lie. Grandma said, I know, sweetie, but no, I'm sorry, we can't talk right now. I need to look after my family, my own family, okay? My son's in Los Angeles. Goodbye, Marcia. And then she checked the deadbolt and lock to make sure they were secure. What did she want, Grandma, said Dylan. What? Nothing, honey. Is she having muffin problems again? Never mind, Dylan, it's nothing. It's L.A., isn't it, said Dylan. We can't help her because the devil landed on L.A. He spoke the words, but they didn't make sense. L.A., Los Angeles, home. It had been flattened like a pancake, torn up like cheap tissue paper. If Dylan had to draw the scene, he put word art beside the LA-sized mushroom cloud that went kaprom. On TV, they showed the two bodies side by side in split screen. God had landed on Nevada. Feet and legs splayed out, sort of stretched out wide. He was all bruised up and bloodied, right eye black and blue. Dylan hated looking at him. He hated it. Lip all swollen, blood all over his mouth. The other guy, though, the devil, looked much, much worse. Not much blood, but his neck had twisted all the way around. Neck muscles bunched up and all sick looking. His big black forked tongue stuck out of his mouth. Los Angeles, huh. Dad was there. It made no sense, not at all. The devil's arm had broken at the shoulder, and it had kinked up at the elbow so that his hand sort of lay across the northeastern side of the Hollywood Hills. The gnarled, cracked black fingernail of his index finger rested there atop the Y of the Hollywood sign. His head, yep, twisted all the way around. It had taken out Pasadena. He'd crushed Glendale, barely missed Dodger Stadium. He'd cut a long, angry doomsday gash through Altadena, Chinatown, East LA. debris and wreckage, impact zones all over the city. Inglewood and Compton and Lakewood, Anaheim, Yorba Linda, Burbank, Studio City, Sherman Oaks, and Encino, smoke and flame and ash and death. Dad, dead people, body bags on the news, crying news ladies. Why hadn't Dad called them? What about Dad, said Dylan. He's okay, isn't he? Grandma said, I hope so, baby, I really hope so. But her voice didn't say that, not at all. Dylan would do her comic book thought balloon this way. No, baby, your dad's not okay. Nobody's okay. Nobody will ever be okay again. He didn't like this comic anymore. Stopped sketching, turned the page, closed the cover. He got up from the couch and went to give his grandma a hug. She cried in his arms. He cried too. Even so, he couldn't hear the sobs over the shouting and honking out on the street.